So last week, Turtle Rock Studios invited a lot of the industry reporters to check out their new game called Evolve. The Turtle Rock Studios, if we don't know, is the studio behind the Left 4 Dead series. So they're real big on multiplayer games. Um, and Evolve is their next step in evolution, gameplay wise, I guess, of the Left 4 Dead series, and it looks pretty great. In Left 4 Dead, you play as your human players versus your four human players versus your four zombie players, um, and it had a really good dynamic of all human players being pretty much equal against your special zombies who had each of them a different ability. Um, Evolve takes that to the next level with each of your four classes having special abilities on the human side, and then the monster being able to change the gameplay as he grows larger. Um, Starting with the human side, each of the four players, it's all set as a first-person shooter. So familiar gameplay mechanics. You're switching to each of one of your different pieces of equipment, and you're using them to hunt down the monster and kill it. Um, each of the four human players has a jetpack to traverse the environment, as the monster is able to climb just about every surface. So they have to keep up with him that way. As you're playing, or before you start playing, you get to choose your character, and all the characters are split into four character classes. The ones that they've shown in both the Happy Hunting trailer and all the gameplay from the Turtle Rock event last week were the Medic, Trapper, Support, and Assault. And I'm pretty sure those four classes are going to be the four classes for the entire development cycle. Now each of these classes has a list of characters to choose from, so it's not just going to be just the four characters, Bill, Lewis, Francis, and Zoe. You have several different medics, several different trappers, several different supports, several different assaults, all of them being the basic class that I'm pretty sure they all have like similar equipment, and then each one has one piece of equipment that is exclusive to that specific character. So you might have a medic that has more armor, or a medic that does more damage, or you have a trapper that can throw a net over the monster, or a support that can do more, DPS kind of stuff. Each character having an exclusive ability that would make them stand out against other characters. Speaking in detail of each of the characters so far from what I've seen, the medic character named Val, she's pretty cool. She, of course, as the medic, has a basic heal ability. She also has a tranquilizer to slow the monster, and I believe as soon as she tranks him, she calls out his location so all the other players can see him. And she also has a armor-piercing sniper rifle, which sounds really cool gameplay-wise because she can pinpoint a specific area on the monster. She can shoot off a piece of his armor, creating a weak spot for the other hunters to take advantage of. So that sounds really cool as a cool ability for a medic to have that they don't usually have. Second class being your trapper. I'm pretty sure he's the old grizzled guy. His name Griffin. His name is Griffin. He's the guy in all green, and his different abilities include like sound spikes. He throws them down in the environment, and they send out an echo wave that will come back, and if the monster is making lots of noise, it'll obviously see him. Or it'll also be pretty cool to see if those sound spikes pick up the wildlife jumping through the trees or running through the brush or something like that. That could throw off the trapper's sense of direction, or throw off the trail of the monster. Because I believe the trapper is the one that's going to be doing most of the tracking, as far as he can see like where the monster's been. He can more easily see the monster's tracks, and claw marks if he's climbing, that kind of thing. So that sounds pretty cool as a trapper. He also comes with the dome shield. At least Griffin comes with a dome shield. All of these abilities, I'm not sure which ones are standard on that class and which ones are specific to this character. But he comes with a dome shield. He can throw it down as soon as they see the monster, and stop him from running away. Um, from the trailers, it looks like it was a pretty big area, so it's still got some room for the monster to try to get away and maybe climb a tree or jump over a cliff and have all of the human hunters lose line of sight on him. Um, the main weapon for Griffin, the trapper, is his harpoon gun, and it's a pretty cool ability. He shoots it into he shoots the harpoon into the monster, and it'll pin him down for a second, and it'll stop him from being able to run away. So all the other characters can just wail in on him with all kinds of damage. So the third class being your support class. They've mentioned several times about this class being both offensive and defensive. So I'm wondering how that exactly is going to work, and it might end up being most people want to play the support character because there's more options, or there's more range of playstyle with that character. I'm just going to call Hank the guy with the minigun. He looks like a Hank, and the big guy with the lightning gun and the red eye, he looks like a Markov. So the assault class hasn't had much said about it yet, besides the fact that he is the damage dealer. He's got the biggest gun. He does the most damage as fast as possible. So he's going to be the guy that we want in the front of the group, always having his crosshairs trained on the monster. And everyone needs to be supporting him as the damage dealer. Support class different abilities that they mentioned so far is a defensive shield that he can throw up in front of any of the other hunters, which negates the monster's damage. So as soon as he throws that shield up, it's protecting your hunter, and the monster is forced to either flee or choose another target. So it's good for easy distractions. The next ability that they mentioned was an orbital strike, which is obviously your offensive ability on Hank. They didn't show anything about that in either the Happy Hunting trailer or any of the gameplay. So I'm interested to see how that works. I'm pretty sure it's probably just a one-use item, and you would need to use it like while the monster has been tranquilized and held down by a harpoon gun underneath the dome shield. There's no way I would think that the orbital strike would work any other way besides that. So after you choose your class and your character based on all those different things, I'm really hoping that they have more female characters. I'd love to see a female DPS character. That's probably going to be my character of choice if they have her. Little bitty girl with the biggest gun. That's my kind of player. But as you go into the match, in the hunt game mode that they had at the event, you are able to see what monster you're fighting. So in the Happy Hunting and the first gameplay we've seen, they had the monster as what they call the Goliath. And it's pretty cool. Standard monster as monsters go. He's big, he's mean, he's spiky, and he's pretty scary looking. But it's going to be interesting to see what other monsters they have. As they have multiple characters for each class, they're obviously going to have multiple different monsters. And when you have the game mode that you don't know off the bat which monster you're fighting, it's going to be really interesting trying to find him. We don't know if it's going to be the Goliath, who is running around on two legs, climbing over cliffs, climbing trees, all that kind of stuff, or if it's going to be something that flies, something that slithers across the ground, something that swims. I didn't see much water in the trailers though, so I'm not sure about that last one. But if you go into a match where you're not sure what the monster is you're fighting, there's going to be a lot of those times when you hear something rustle in the bushes and all of four of you just start unloading into the bushes, into the trees, and you end up killing one of the giant, like, pale-faced sloths they show, or the, what do they call it, the tyrant, the giant crocodile snapping turtle beast that they have in this demo level. And you shoot, and then you kill it, and it turns out that wasn't the monster at all. So they have said multiple times about how many of the creatures, the wildlife in this particular map, are hostile to the human players, the hunters. The one they spent some time talking about was the tyrant. So if he lives in a specific pool on the map, so if any of the players accidentally slip into that pool, the tyrant's going to come out raging at them and provide a much needed distraction for the monster. They talked about the tyrant being able to even take out one of the human players on his own. So that sounds pretty cool to have these AI wildlife monsters running around that are not the main objective for the human players, the human hunters. And at the same time that you're fighting all the native wildlife and fauna and flora in the level, you're tracking down this monster. You, like I said before, you have your trapper who is doing the majority of the actual tracking, following his footprints, all that kind of thing. And you want to find him as quickly as possible because the monster he starts off not weak, but he starts off very manageable for hunters to deal with quickly. So if he's making a lot of noise or making a lot of tracks that are easy to follow, the match will end fairly quickly if the humans can find him as soon as possible. Because as the human players, you want to stop that monster from evolving, because once he reaches stage 2, he's basically on an even playing field with all four of you. So if in the time it takes him to reach stage 2, one of you falls prey to the tyrant or some man-eating plant, and so now it's one monster at stage 2 versus 3 human players, you're going to be just off kilter enough to be on the defensive against that stage 2 monster. He manages to escape after you run into him and fight him a little bit, and he levels up to stage 3. He becomes this monstrous 30-foot tall beast, and he has all of his abilities, and the game, I believe, then switches into like an endgame phase where the secondary objective for the human players has now become the main objective for the monster. The level that they showed has some sort of facility within this jungly area that has a lot of civilians in it, and civilian, like AI human characters, and the monster's goal at the end game is to either kill all the civilians or destroy the facility, which I'm assuming destroying the facility would kill all the civilian humans. So once he reaches stage 3, it really becomes a game of defense for the hunters. They have to fall back to their objective and stop this monster from destroying the generators in the building or eating all the humans. From what I've seen so far in the hunt mode, that seems like to be the main arc of the gameplay. Starting off hunting this smaller monster. He's about 8 or 9 feet tall, and if you can find him quickly, dispatching him so he doesn't turn into the stage 2 monster, and then like the gameplay ramps up from there to being stage 2, and having these skirmishes throughout the map and still chasing the monster, trying to stop him, and then him eventually leveling to stage 3, where he moves on to that secondary objective, and he can actually win the match by either killing all 4 of the human hunters or completing that secondary objective. From the monsters gameplay perspective, you choose your monster at the beginning of the match, you drop in, and immediately, from what they've said so far, at least with the Goliath, you're immediately running away from the hunters. You need to get away as fast as you can so you can find food and turn that food into energy for you to evolve. That's the name of the game, is evolution. So they listed out several different abilities for the Goliath. First being his rock throw. I believe you get that at stage 1. You can, pick up a large chunk of the environment and throw it at the hunters. And I would expect the stage 1 to also have the leap attack that they mentioned. So he can easily traverse the environment and try to get away from the hunters as quickly as possible. They also mentioned that the Goliath can go into a stealth mode, and this sounds really cool because in stage 1 you're going to want to go to stealth mode as often as possible, so you're not making any noise, you're not leaving behind tracks, and you could be lurking right behind the hunters and they wouldn't even know. You've become very difficult to see and very difficult to track. So for my Goliath strategy so far, I'm most likely going to take, as soon as the match starts, make as much noise as I can, let them know where I am, leave as many tracks as possible, and lead them towards some environmental hazard, being some really angry wildlife, or something that they could fall prey to, being a cliff or something weird like that. But as soon as you get a good distance away, I'm leaping, I'm roaring to let them know where I'm at, and then as soon as I get a good distance and I feel safe, immediately going into stealth mode and hunting as much of the wildlife as I can. They showed a lot of these like lemur-like things that look fairly easy to kill, so that's probably gonna be my main prey as the monster, is eating a lot of those to level up to stage 2. Once you reach stage 2 as the monster, it's really up to you as to whether you bring the fight to the hunters or you continue to evade to try to level up to stage 3. At stage 2 you're pretty much equal to 4 hunter players, and I believe at that point you gain your fire breath attack at stage 2. So that sounds, it looks really cool. They've shown it in all the trailers for the Goliath. After stage 2, after you gain stage 2, I think my strategy is going to be, the human players are close enough to jump in there and try to do as much damage to them as I can, and then kind of do a hit and run until they reach stage 3. Probably even at stage 2 to double back to whatever facility they have on this demo level. And eating as many civilians as I can, because I'm assuming the humans would actually give me more nutrition and level me up faster. And then once I reach stage 3, I doubt if I'm ever going to actually go for the secondary objective, unless it just becomes that much easier if I'm playing against really skilled hunters. But I think for the most part, I'm just going to enjoy running around, grabbing the hunters, throwing them around, biting them in half, all these crazy things. I'm really hoping for a flying monster eventually. I like the Goliath, he's really cool, but I think it's going to be really cool to have a Rodan-like monster, or if Otachi was the monster in Pacific Rim, and that was really cool to me, having that wingspan and being able to pick up human players and fly up really high and dropping them. I think that would be really cool. So that's pretty much everything that I found from watching several different videos from multiple sources from that Turtle Rock Studios event that they had last week. Of course, more news is to follow. I'm going to try to do my best to keep up with it and probably post update videos as often as I can. Look forward to hearing more from me about Evolve as the months pass, and we're all looking forward to that fall 2014 release date for Evolve. If there's anything you felt like I left out or you wanted to say, let me know in the comment section below. If you want to see more videos like this, I'm doing my best to catch all the news as it comes out. So subscribe to this channel and leave a like on this video to let me know that this video was appreciated. I thank you all for your support, and thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys again later.